And gentlemen, joining us for the first time, and we're very honored because we were able to chill with Senator, newly minted Senator Dave McCormick, at a epic Penn State versus Oregon game. We actually have a great photo of that where we were on the field right here, and Dave McCormick was flexing his Charlie Kirk Freedom shirt and obviously defending Charlie's legacy. He has some beautiful. He had some a beautiful story actually about Charlie, and maybe we should ask him live right now because he's joining the show. The proud, new, fresh-faced senator from the state of Pennsylvania, Dave McCormick, joins us live. Senator, it was great to connect with you at that game. It was awesome. Sorry about the result, by the way.
Man, that was a tough loss, Benny, but great to spend time with you on the field for the whiteout, 117,000 fans. And, that was a special day, but a large part because you came and there was a huge turnout, as you know, for Charlie, and an incredible turning point rally that you created. I think you said 5,000 people lined up there. I came a bit late and saw you there, but incredible. And it just shows the lasting impact and legacy. I mean, there were hundreds of people registering to vote, an enormous turnout for Turning Point, enormous turnout for Charlie. And I think we're going to see a dramatic shift in the country just based on what we saw that day in Pennsylvania.
It was beautiful to see in Pennsylvania. I've never understood. We have employees in Pennsylvania, people that we love on our team. The amazing Ashley on our team lives in Philadelphia. And I get it that there are obviously Democrats in Pennsylvania, but when you travel Pennsylvania, man, they love Trump. It's a strong family values state. I hope that it becomes like Florida. Can you talk to me about that? Is Pennsylvania on the track to getting Florida? Can you give people hope in that? Because again, the idea behind this is that Florida was, of course, a squishy purple state in 2020, right? And remained that way until Republicans got serious and started delivering. And now it's like a just very dark red state, and we love it.
Yeah, we're on the journey here. We're on the path. If you go back to 2022 versus 2024. The registration gap closed by something like 600,000 voters. And it's about 100,000 voter advantage in registered voters. But that's gone from 1 million 4 years ago to 100,000. So the registration's moving dramatically. And I give President Trump a lot of credit for that. I give Charlie, Scott Pressler, you lots of credit for folks that came in and really helped get out the vote. College campuses used to be solidly blue. They've moved dramatically now in our direction in Pennsylvania. Penn State's a good example of that. That's the first thing. Second thing, what happened in Pennsylvania in 24, the coalition President Trump built, I was able to be part of that, was incredible. And we have to solidify it. In Philadelphia, more than 20% of African Americans voted for Trump and for me. Across the state, more than 40% of Hispanics voted for Trump, voted for me. In the trades, the building trades, where the Nationals endorsed Harris, endorsed Casey, 2/3 of the rank and file, 2/3. These are welders and pipe fitters and steam fitters and electricians. They voted for Trump. They voted for me. So that coalition is a huge part of the future of the party. You're very hard to win the presidency without winning Pennsylvania. And I think we're on a path here that we can really lock it in as red, but we got to keep the pressure on.
Yes. So what about the vote in Pennsylvania? What has been done in order to make sure that the vote is safe and secure? What's been done from a federal or a state level? What do we still need to fix, Senator?
Well, as much as had been done on this, and Michael Watley at the RNC had brought a huge team of folks on the ground for the 24 cycle. But as much as had been done, at the very end in my race, when there was a recount, there was literally votes getting turned. And there was this famous...
Oh, we remember. Yeah, we remember the election deniers.
You were on the ground, Benny. And yes. In Bucks County in 2024, there's this classic video of this county commissioner saying, I don't care what the law says, we're not going to follow the law. Those votes are not going to count, or they are going to count rather. These are ballots that have been kicked out because they had been inappropriately filled out, and they were going to be counted by the Democrats. So we got a lot of work to do. And the mail-in ballot effort, which I know is controversial, but one of the reasons we won in 24 is President Trump came in and said, listen, that mail-in ballot is one way to vote. Scott Pressler pushed that in a huge way, and we closed the gap on mail-in ballots dramatically. We got to have observation at these polling sites. We've got to flip the courts, and we got a retention race coming up here in November where we've got to win that race, and by winning, get some of those liberal judges thrown out. That's the path, and progress, but there's a lot more to do.
And Senator, speaking from experience, people said Dave McCormick, he'll never win. You got an incumbent, you got a Democrat powerhouse state, right, in Pennsylvania, and you won, and they were kicking and screaming about it. To Chuck Schumer's eternal shame, right? It's like he's been mewling about election denialism for 4 years, and then here he is, like, refusing to congratulate you on your win. Yeah. I'll never forget that, Senator. Yeah, but anyway, it was embarrassing. Yeah, it was very embarrassing. But we're going to head to New Jersey. And I know that there's a ton of people that love Pennsylvania sports in New Jersey. There were a ton of people from Jersey at the Penn State game. They're very close, like brotherly states. And, tons of just crossover there. Yeah. And we're going to go there for Jack Ciattarelli, who's running for governor and doing, he's neck and neck, kind of like your polls. We're neck and neck. So can New Jersey flip red? I don't think there's a better person to ask than you, Senator.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And Jack can win. He's a great guy, as you know. He's a common sense. The reason I won, I believe the reason the President Trump won, but certainly the reason I won, and I think the reason Jack can win is common sense. Common sense. Listen, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent, you don't want 4,000 Pennsylvanians dying last year from fentanyl because of wide open borders. You don't want 20% inflation, which is killing. I had somebody in my office today who's on Social Security. She's still dealing with a horrible challenge. If you're on fixed income and prices are up 20%, right? They don't want disorder on the city streets. You walk through Philadelphia these days, and it was just in Kensington last week.
Goodness.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And Trump ran on common sense policies to fix those problems, and he's delivering on those. And so you can, in places like Pennsylvania, man, they just want people going to solve problems. And they look at President Trump and say, holy cow, there's a guy who actually made promises and is delivering on them. And that's, I think, the mantra for winning here. I can't speak for other states, but we just want to solve problems. We want to work with anybody we need to solve the problems. And the president is leading the charge on that. And, I'm proud to support those efforts.
I just wanted to give you an opportunity here as we close out to comment on the shutdown, given the fact that you just rattled off all of these agenda items that were able to deliver a devastating, for the Democrats, victory, right, for you in the 2024 election. Probably the surprise. It's probably the biggest surprise in the entire nation, and a wonderful one at that. But you talk about how, hey, listen, I'm just going to serve my constituency. I'm just going to serve the working man and woman of Pennsylvania, the citizens of Pennsylvania. And now Chuck Schumer is shutting down the entire government to give criminal aliens more money from our treasury. How do they even sell that, Senator? How can you even go to the American people with your head held high and say that's what you're planning on doing? It seems like the sombreros and the wax mustaches are very merited in this scenario.
Honestly, it is disgraceful. And I think the Democrats are in a cul-de-sac, right? They can't. They have gotten themselves in a mess they can't get out of, because the thing we're asking for, this is the Schumer shutdown. The thing we're asking for is a very simple thing, which is, believe it or not, Benny, the actual appropriation process is moving in the right direction. We're trying to get back to regular order where the Congress does its job rather than these huge, big omnibus bills every year that just advance all sorts of crazy spending. And what Schumer and his team have done is essentially say, we're going to stop the government because we don't like President Trump. We don't like the fact that he's winning. We don't like the fact that we got the working families tax cut act in place. He is fighting Trump, and he's doing it at the expense of the American people, at the expense of the military, expense of the Border Patrol, at the expense of our services. And the thing he's asking for is so ridiculous. It's to essentially allow for illegal immigrants to get health care, undo many of the reforms that we put into Medicaid, and advance the Obamacare stimulus, essentially the subsidies that have been put in place during COVID, and COVID's been over for years. So it's an indefensible position that's going to harm the American people. And there's only one explanation, which he is bowing to the extreme left of his party. I know there's a bunch of Democrats in the Senate that think this is a terrible idea. They told me, but Schumer is in the cul-de-sac and he can't get out. And I think they're going to pay for it.
Anybody from the Midwest or from places where it gets icy and snows, like, understands exactly how nightmarish it is to be stuck in the cul-de-sac and not be able to get out.
You're right.
I've been there, man. I've been there where it's like, you just got to cancel plans until it gets warmer. You can't get up the driveway. Yeah. All right. Really quickly, I hope you don't mind. Just a quick, it just came to the mind of me and my producers. Jim Banks, your colleague, it's a fascinating post here. Says, yo, the census robbed a bunch of states by overcounting in some places, by undercounting in other places, scrambling data, including criminal aliens, and handing Democrats extra seats and extra power. Obviously something they wanted to do, which was steal your election victory away from you. Turns out that they did it in the census. He has quite a compelling case here. Since he's one of your colleagues, I just wonder, like, have you ever chatted with him about this? Like, what do you think about this? Should we redo the census, Senator?
Yeah, I haven't chatted with him about it, but this is something I said during the campaign. It was so obvious, because if you allow 20 million illegal immigrants into the country and you count them in the census, which they explicitly do, that changes congressional seats and it changes the electoral college. Look how close these presidential elections have been. So if you change the electoral college, change the seats, it changes the composition and the power politically. And it was absolutely transparent at the time they were doing this. And I do agree with the gist of what you just said, that Senator Banks is calling out. And we probably do need to think about how to not have the census reflect something that isn't representative of American citizens. Just think about it. They're counting people in the census that by definition can't legally vote. Right? That's right. Un-American. It's undemocratic, and it makes no sense. And so Banks is smart, and he's a good man. He's a great senator, and he's on the right path.
Yeah, it's like it is a really perverse incentive, just like giving criminal aliens free health care. It's a perverse incentive to pack as many criminal aliens into your municipality as possible, right? In order to gain power. It's a really bad system.
It just may answer the question, because I always ask myself, what's behind the wide open borders? What is it, ideological? Because it's creating a lot of problems for the Democrats. What is it? What is the driver of this? Well, I think part of it is this. Part of it is that the political benefit of having this enormous inflow of illegal immigrants is indisputable. It's indisputable by definition through a census that counts folks that are largely Democrats, going to largely vote with the left, and ultimately isn't in the best interest of the country.
Oh man, my team just sent me the coolest photo. Okay, fine, we're just going to pop it up. You don't need to tell us what you were discussing here. But they sent us an amazing photo, the christening of the Rose Garden Club. It looks like you really had Trump's ear here. Goodness gracious. Never seen Trump listening so intently, Senator. Maybe you were just making this point about the census. You can tell us if you'd like.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. It's going to be maybe disappointing.
It's a dad joke?
No, he was looking at his iPad and he was deciding what song he was going to play next because he was DJing.
You can see it there now. Okay, yeah. Okay, now that I'm taking in the photo.
Much to my disappointment, he wasn't seeking my advice on what he should do next.
Got it. All right. Well, what song did you tell him to play? I know you got to go, but what song did you tell him to play?
He was unbelievable. The great thing about him when he's DJing is he not only knows the songs, he knows the artist. So he calls up Pavarotti and he says, "Let me tell you about Pavarotti." And then he calls up Frank Sinatra. He said, "Let me tell you about Frank." So he has relationships with a lot of these folks. I think right around that time, it was an old favorite, which you'll know well because we heard it every time he campaigned. Lee Greenwood came up a couple times.
I mean,
throughout the evening.
that is a very easy bingo. Yeah. Right there. Yeah. All right. Well, that's amazing. Geez. One of these days, Senator, man, that's an awesome seating right there. Everybody follow the senator, obviously. And massive rising star, a very good man, and somebody who is flipping Pennsylvania red. And that is just a wonderful thing. And maybe you can join us at one of these campaign stops in New Jersey. Senator, I'm sure everyone would love to see you.
I'd love it. Thanks, Benny.
Godspeed, Senator.
Same to you. Thanks for having me.